Hey y'all. Hey, I'm the African witch bitch, hoodoo practitioner. Hey, I'm actually at a social gathering right now, but I stepped away for a quick second because I needed to address something. When the ancestors call and tell me to work, a bitch got to get off her ass and work. So right now, I'm finna do a quick tutorial on protection work. When, how, and why. Now, I would like to give props. This is one of my hoodoo babies in my private Facebook group who prompted the question, and the ancestors told me to do a live to answer it. So here goes. A lot of people don't really understand how protection work works and what's the point of doing it and when it should be done. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify if anybody have any questions. Now, again, hoodoo is not something that's cookie cut. This is my way. I'm only giving you what I do, and I'm only giving you how I do it. Okay, everybody does things differently, but there are some information floating out there about protection work. So here goes. First and foremost, protection work should be a routine maintenance. It should be something you do, like brushing your teeth, like taking a shower, like cleaning up your kitchen, like mopping your floor, like doing laundry. Okay, it's something that you regularly do. You do that so that your house don't end up looking like the show Hoarders. Y'all seen that damn show Hoarders, right? These people ain't doing regular maintenance and cleaning. They just bringing a whole bunch of shit in their house and it stacks the fuck up, and now they got blockage. They can't even move from one room to the next because if they make a wrong move, a whole bunch of shit will fall on them and kill them. Y'all all seen that shit. I want you to liken that analogy to routine cleansing and protection work. Now let me explain. Protection work is something that you do on a routine because throughout our our whole day, the hustle and bustle of life, you going to work, you coming home. Your kids going in and out from school, you going in and out from school. Shit, you on the phone, you on the TV. You pick up energies, interacting with other people. You pick up energies, you pick up stuff. So if you have a regular routine maintenance of cleansing and protection, that minimizes you getting blockages, and it also keeps you protected from negative shit building up in your life that can hinder your work. A lot of people think that you do specific protection work for specific spells, depending on the spell you do. I disagree with that. That's not my method, because I believe that if you have a regular routine maintenance of doing protection work, you will never have to worry about doing a specific work for a specific spell. I know some witches may practice that way, and they only do protection work when they're doing spell work. If they're doing a sour jar or a reversal, they do a specific protection. And if they're doing this spell, they do a specific protection. And if they're doing that, I disagree with that, and let me tell you why. Because if the only time you're asking for protection, and the only time you're doing cleansing, and the only time that you're out trying to cover yourself is when you're doing spell work, what about the times you're not doing spell work? That means that you are wide open for any and every goddamn thing to come and attack you. And that means that you're wide open for you to have a bunch of blockages. And I just that is just not my method. That's not effective in my opinion. A lot of people may or may not agree with me, but I'm going to tell you why I believe that that's the case. In regards to doing specific work, like for the sake of this video, I'm going to say sour jars in reversal. A lot of people hit me up asking this question. If I'm doing a sour jar, how do I, or a reversal spell or whatever, how do I stop from blowback coming back on me? But here's how you stop. You always know that the work that you're doing is ethically sound, and the reason why you're doing it is because the motherfuckers that you put in that jar or that you're sending back any negativity sent to you deserve it. I consider sour jars and reversal candles justice and protection work. Meaning somebody really seriously had you fucked up, or else you wouldn't be there trying to do it. I'm talking about being as ethical as possible. Because if you are not ethical, then you would have to worry about shit blowing back on you. Or you sit up and you worry about shit blowing back on you because throughout history, through Christianity, Islam, Judaism, the three Abrahamic religions, we were always taught that we are not to get revenge when someone do something to you. Well, honey, in African spirituality, that whole concept does not exist. You have every right to protect yourself. You have every right to get retribution when somebody got you fucked up. That's African spirituality. If you are a Christian practicing, I don't even know how the fuck you can be a Christian practicing when Christianity has specific rules to kill witches, but I guess we can talk about that another day. Of course you're gonna feel some kind of way about doing revenge work, but shit, you have a right to protect yourself. And right now, with through all the shit that you done been through, your ancestors who are no longer in this physical realm, they're in the spiritual realm, because in African spirituality we do not believe in death. We believe that people energy does not die, it simply transitions and transforms. So now your ancestors are in a position to move some shit in the ethers, and now they're in a position to actually protect you from bullshit. So you have a right to ask them, to summons them, to ask of them to render justice for you. And it's only in extreme cases when somebody got you for real fucked up, and you want to use that as a method of revenge, and as a method of retribution, as a method of protection, and as a method of justice. That's that's African spirituality. And if you have an issue with that, baby, go back to church. But I'm just here to give you I'm just here to give you the history and the foundation behind it. Okay, so I don't have a problem doing retribution and protection work. The only thing I say is make sure that the person deserves it. You don't use a bust out of sour draw, because that's big dick energy for petty ass reasons. You don't do that, because that shit can really fuck somebody up, and you have to make sure that they deserve it. Now, in regards to reversal, I don't see a problem with that, because if somebody gonna be good enough and send you negativity, it don't necessarily have to be spell work negativity. It could just be negative energy, period. If they have the right to have the, gall and to send that shit to you, you have every right to send that shit right on back to them and protect your space so that that negativity don't penetrate your home and your family and your psyche and your emotions and your self-esteem, etc. You have every right to do that. Now, in regards to protection, that's why I say I don't do specific spells. Specific protection for specific spells. I have a regular routine maintenance of shit I do to keep myself well protected. From the crystals I carry in my titties, to the black salt I put down in my home, to the regular bombing of my home, to the oils that I wear, the oils that I burn, the deities that I fuck with, and the ancestors that I feed. That's protection work. You don't just feed your ancestors just because the sky is blue, although it is good to give to them. But once you build that relationship up, and you really do spend some time just giving thanks to them, that's your number one line of defense for protection. Because they will guide your feet, and they will guide your hands, and they will tell you when some shit ain't right. They will tell you what it do, and they will tell you what it don't. And once the ancestors really tell you, you know what? You need to fuck that person up because they got you fucked up, or they did this, that, and the third. And you got a clearance from them that once you do that spell, they're going to, because you doing a spell is you writing a letter. They're the mailman. They're going to take that letter and handle your business for you. That's protection work. It's not no specific lighting a candle, although you can do it that way, but it's not as effective. For you doing one spell and you want to make sure you're protected for that. Now you're wide open. You're wide open. Okay, so let me clarify, because I know I'm all over the place. Some witches I've seen on YouTube teach that the only time you do protection is when you're doing a spell. That's bullshit. Because you may or may not be doing spells every day. You might only do spells when the ancestors or the spirit, or rather spirit, guide you to do one. What about those times you're not doing spells? That means you're wide open for attack? That's like mopping your floor only when something spill on it. So all that bacteria and shit is just going to build up on your floor. But the second that the floor gets a certain color, then you decide to mop it. That leaves you open for catching shit, disease, COVID, all kind of shit. That's the analogy I'm giving you. You have a routine of protection that you do. Different things. And there is no cookie cutter way to be protected. Each person's protection ritual is going to be different than the next. There is no two people that have the same protection ritual. Example, I have Teresa. She's in my Facebook group. She's one of my trusted readers. Her cleansing and protection method is different than mine. Sure, we might have some similarities, but she has her own personal relationship with spirit that I have. I have Lovely Witch that's in my YouTube, one of my dearest, closest people, and an admin in my group. She has a completely different routine, regular maintenance of protection and cleansing that she do that is completely different than mine. Sure, we might use the same tools. Sure, we might use the same method, but I guarantee you that her method ain't the same as my method, because each person is different. So for the people that sit up and inbox me and email me asking me, what can I do for protection? I say, what, for this spell, I tell them your protection and your cleansing should always be done. It should be done on a routine. On Monday, you might burn frankincense on a charcoal disc. On Tuesday, you might burn oils. On Wednesday, you might burn palo. On Thursday, you might feed your ancestors, or you don't have to necessarily pick a day of the week unless you're fucking with a deity like, excuse me. Different orishas want to be fed on different days. It just depends on the person. You know what I mean? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Protection work is a routine maintenance. It's something that you do on a regular basis. And once you're well and good and protected, you don't have to worry about no shit blowing back or coming back, because your ancestors are your biggest line of protection. Spirit is your biggest line of protection. You can lay down all the black salt in the world. You can burn all the goddamn sage you want, but if you don't have a relationship with spirit and you don't spend no time autolating your ancestors and building that relationship up, then you wide open for somebody to come and fuck you up. And why? Because you're not spending time, a season, like we all had to do. All seasoned practitioners had to spend a season showing thanks and building that relationship with spirit. And a lot of these YouTube witch hoes out here in these YouTube streams never teach this. They never teach about shadow work. They never teach about healing. They never teach about excuse me, building a relationship with your ancestors. They only teach that as soon as you dip your toe in the pool, when you're ready to start practicing, do a spell. Well, I'm telling you right now, the African witch bitch is looking you dead in your motherfucking face, telling you if you really did decide to choose this lane, or the ancestors are tugging you this way, and then we call it tapping you on your third eye to wake you up, and this is your lane, the last thing in the world you need to be thinking about is doing spell work. The first thing in the world you need to be thinking about is doing shadow work. The only work you should be thinking about doing is shadow work and building a relationship with your ancestors. Anything outside of that, you ain't ready. And that won't cost you a fucking dime. If you got a little dollar store journal and you got you a glass of water and you got you some grass, you may not even have an altar in your house because maybe you live with somebody, or your mama, your daddy. Hell, if I live with my mama, I wouldn't be able to have no altar. She's a big old Christian. And you may not have but 2 nickels in your goddamn pocket, but you got a full ass heart. And you have a humble spirit to practice and adulate the people whose shoulders you stand on, that you literally wouldn't even be here today with if not for the ancestors. And you stand on their shoulders and you literally have a genuine heart just to lift them up. Baby, that's all you need. And ain't no witch bitch out there gonna tell you that. They're gonna try to sell you a motherfucking pipe dream, telling you that you need to pay this, that, and the third, giving you prices that's higher than pterodactyl pussy for work. You don't need all of that. I get passionate. Get you a glass of water or a bottle of water. Take your ass out in nature if you can't practice at home. Take a walk and thank them. And that right there. And pour out that water. There's a libation thing I did to Harriet Tubman on my channel. You can look it up. And you just pour out and you pour out 3 sips of water and you speak from the kindness of your heart. You might cry, snot might be pouring out. That's it. You will feel them over you the very first couple of times you do it. And that right there, my baby, is how you build your relationship with your ancestors, and you start there. And you may be living with your auntie or your mama or your big mama. You may be in a relationship with a dude and you just not in a comfortable place. But guess what though? Guess what? All you got to do is walk. And maybe you might have a sandwich that you just made. You may not have no money, but you got some peanut butter and jelly in your refrigerator. Cut you a sandwich, a piece of bread in half, and put some peanut butter and jelly and take a walk and lay that shit out by a tree. That's your meal to your ancestors. You don't need to fucking lay out no steak and lobster. You don't need a lot of shit, but they not gonna tell you that because they're trying to make a buck off you not knowing. And I'm not here for that. Because I remember what it was like being new. And all I wanted was just to say thank you. And that's all you need. And right there, baby, the ancestors are going to take you and guide you on your journey. That's that's how you start for the people who don't know. And that right there is your number 1 line of defense for protection. So, just in case you don't remember what I said, because I know I said a lot, your number 1 line of defense for protection is your ancestors. Start building that relationship and they'll guide you for the rest of the way. And if you want some routine maintenance of protection by burning certain things and carrying certain crystals, But that's what you do. You don't only do protection when you're doing a spell. That will leave you wide open to get fucked up. And I'm here to keep you safe, because if you are watching this, you are my hoodoo baby. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. I am the African Witch Bitch. Ashe.